Have you ever just looked at someone's face and wondered about the story behind it? You know, the lines, the skin tone, hair. It's
Yeah.
often like a living map, right?
Absolutely. A map of history, migration, heritage.
Exactly. And today we're really diving into a place where that human story is just incredibly clear on pretty much every face you see, Malaysia. So our mission here is to really understand the fascinating forces behind Malaysia's incredible physical diversity. We're using historical records, genetic studies, cultural insights, all the stuff you shared.
Yeah, the goal is to unpack why Malaysians look so different from one another.
Right.
And, to get that diversity, you first have to appreciate Malaysia's unique spot on the map, historically speaking.
Ah, the geography.
Yes. It wasn't just near the big trade routes, it was the heart of them,
Yeah.
a major crossroads.
Okay.
And this location turned it into, well, a massive melting pot for millennia. It really sets the stage for the whole story we see in people's appearances today.
Okay, so let's unpack that a bit. Think of Malaysia less like just a country and more like this central station for ancient global connections.
Hmm.
For thousands of years, it's been right there, smack in the middle of the spice routes, a key link between East and West.
Connecting whole continents.
And the crucial thing, as you said, wasn't just spices changing hands, right? It was people moving, settling.
Exactly. That strategic spot led to wave after wave of human migration, constantly adding to the mix.
Like who, for instance?
Well, you had early Malay kingdoms absorbing influences, genetically too, from India, Arabia, then Chinese traders settling along the coasts for good.
Okay.
Later, European colonizers brought new groups. And then, a really big one, the British era. Millions of laborers from South India, Sri Lanka.
Or the plantations.
Right. And all this was happening while the original inhabitants, the Orang Asli on the peninsula, the Dayak in Borneo, were still there, living in their ancestral lands.
Wow, so it's like layer upon layer upon layer.
A true tapestry, woven from constant arrivals and mixing.
So, okay, history paints the picture, but modern science, that gives us the details, the percentages.
It does. And the genetic studies, like those from 2017 you mentioned, are really quite revealing. They quantify this blending.
What did they find? Like the breakdown?
So on average, they found Malaysians carry about 50 to 55% Austronesian and Malay ancestry.
Right, the Austronesians being those ancient seafarers.
Exactly. Big influence across Southeast Asia and the Pacific. Then you've got a solid 20 to 25% East Asian input, mostly Chinese and related groups.
Okay.
Add that 15 to 20% South Asian ancestry. Think Indian, Tamil, Sri Lankan lineages.
Uh-huh.
And finally, about 5 to 10% from indigenous Orang Asli, Dayak, and other Austroasiatic groups, those really ancient populations of mainland Southeast Asia.
Wow. That breakdown,
Yeah.
it's not just numbers, is it? It literally charts out those trade routes and migrations in the DNA itself.
Precisely. Malaysia's people are, in a way, a living historical record.
That's incredible.
It is. And connecting that back to what you actually see,
Whoa.
well, it makes it crystal clear why the physical diversity is so striking.
Yeah.
This specific, very complex mix
Yeah.
makes Malaysia one of the most physically diverse places in Asia. It's a fascinating case study in human movement and mixing.
Okay, so let's talk about how that genetic mix actually looks, starting with maybe the most obvious thing, skin tone.
Right.
Because Malaysia really has this amazing spectrum. You've got indigenous Orang Asli groups, often with darker brown tones, sometimes almost Melanesian-like,
Reflecting those ancient lineages.
and the Malay majority, typically more golden to medium brown. Chinese Malaysians, often lighter, like pale beige to olive tones.
General, yes.
And Indian Malaysians tending towards medium to deeper browns, reflecting that South Asian heritage.
That's a good summary. And surveys kind of back that up visually. Roughly 40% golden brown, 30% lighter olive fair, and 30% deeper brown shades. It's quite distributed.
But that visible difference has social implications too, right?
Oh, definitely. That's a really important layer. There's this persistent societal trend where lighter skin gets heavily promoted. Media,
Well, that is
advertising.
lightening products.
Yeah, exactly. A huge industry, worth hundreds of millions. And it does tend to reinforce those sort of Eurocentric beauty ideas. But, and this is crucial, since it's not the whole story, there's a really strong counter-movement, especially with younger Malaysians.
Yeah.
Yeah, reclaiming pride in darker skin, indigenous tones, celebrating them as authentically Malaysian. It's a kind of cultural pushback.
That's fascinating. A sort of internal debate about beauty and identity.
Very much so. It's about defining beauty from within against those external pressures.
Okay, so moving from skin, What about eyes? You said mostly dark brown.
Overwhelmingly, like over 90% dark brown eyes.
But there's still variation.
There is, more than you might think just glancing. You do see subtle hazel, lighter brown tones sometimes, especially among Malays and Indians. Chinese Malaysians typically have the very dark brown, almost black eyes.
And you mentioned something intriguing like rare colors popping up.
Yeah, occasionally in mixed heritage families you might see amber or even, very rarely, green eyes, which again points to that deep history of mixing.
Wow.
And genetically, it's not just random. Surveys estimate maybe 5 to 7% of Malaysians carry the actual gene variants, the alleles, for lighter eye colors.
So it's in the code.
It's in the code. A direct reflection of centuries of global admixture, trade, people moving, little echoes of faraway places.
That global story really continues with hair, too, doesn't it? The textures seem incredibly varied.
Oh, absolutely. Hair is another very visible marker of that multi-ethnic reality.
What are the general trends?
Broadly, maybe 65% straight hair, 25% wavy, and about 10% curly or coiled. But it breaks down further by group.
Like?
Well, Malays often have black hair, straight to wavy, medium thickness. Chinese Malaysians tend towards very straight, black, often finer hair.
Okay.
Indian Malaysians, typically wavy to curly, dark brown or black, often thicker strands.
And the Orang Asli?
They often have dark, quite distinctly curly or sometimes frizzy hair, reflecting those very old Austrasiatic and maybe even Melanesian roots.
So hair and facial structure kind of go together to tell the story.
Exactly. They complete the picture. You see this amazing range in faces, too.
Describe some of that range.
Okay, so the Malay majority often have, say, medium-width faces, quite expressive almond-shaped eyes, softer jawlines. Chinese Malaysians, maybe narrower noses, higher cheekbones often. Indian Malaysians might be noted for stronger jawlines, larger eyes. And the Orang Asli, typically broader faces, darker tones usually, and that very curly hair.
It's so distinct.
It is. And anthropologists have actually measured this stuff. They found up to 15% variation in things like the nasal index nose shape, basically, and craniofacial angles between different Malaysian ethnic groups.
15%, that sounds like a lot.
It's one of the highest variations in Southeast Asia. It really underlines just how much genetic diversity is expressed in how people look.
Okay, let's round out the visible traits with height and build. What are the averages?
The national average is around 169 centimeters. That's about 5'7" for men, and 157 centimeters, 5 foot 2 keys for women.
But again, variation.
Oh, yeah. Clear ethnic and regional differences. Chinese Malaysians tend to be a little taller on average, men around 171 centimeters.
Okay.
Indian Malaysians generally near the national average. The Malay majority about 168, 169 centimeters for men.
And indigenous groups.
The Orang Asli are often a bit shorter. Men average maybe 164 centimeters, women 153 centimeters.
Right.
But what's really interesting here is how dynamic even height is. It's changing.
Changing how?
People in urban areas especially are getting taller, mostly due to better nutrition, better healthcare access.
Really? How much taller?
A study in 2020 found about a 3 to 4 centimeter increase in average height just since the 1980s.
Wow, that's significant.
It really is. Shows how development and improved living standards are literally reshaping the population physically over generations.
So we've got this incredible diversity: skin, eyes, hair, features, even height. Which brings us back to that tricky question. What is a typical Malaysian look?
Ah, yes, the million-dollar question. And it's complex, really nuanced.
Is it the Malay majority look, golden brown skin, etc.? Their cultural influence is huge.
Some would argue that's the core image, yes.
Or does typical have to include the Chinese community? Often fairer, very visible in business, media.
That's another perspective. Or the Indian Malaysian, such a key part of the culture, the food.
Yeah.
So the debate is real. Some argue strongly there is no single typical look because Malaysia is fundamentally plural. Trying to define one misses the point.
Undermines the diversity itself.
Exactly. But others do argue for the Malay phenotype as the central national image. And importantly, you hear minorities resisting being sort of visually excluded. They rightly say, our faces are Malaysian too.
It's not just academic then. It's about identity, belonging.
Deeply. How people see themselves represented in their own country. It forces you to question what typical even means in a place like this.
Maybe the best way to grasp it is just to picture it. Like, imagine you're walking through Petaling Street in KL.
Yeah, the heart of Kuala Lumpur's Chinatown, but so much more.
Right. You'd see maybe a Malay woman, golden brown skin, dark wavy hair, buying fruit. Then a few steps away, a Chinese guy, paler skin, straight black hair, selling electronics.
Yep.
Across the street, maybe a Tamil shopkeeper, Deeper brown skin, curly hair, pouring hot teteric,
Classic scene.
and maybe sitting nearby, an Orang Asli artisan, darker complexion, distinct curly hair, selling woven crafts.
All there together.
Their looks are so different, yet they're all undeniably Malaysian.
The visual snapshot says it all, really.
But appearance in Malaysia, it carries a lot of weight emotionally too, right? Tied to ethnicity, religion, pride.
Hugely. Families take great pride in their specific heritage: Malay, Chinese clan, Indian roots.
But there's a flip side. Prejudice still exists.
Unfortunately, yes. Bias against darker skin, particularly towards Indian and indigenous groups, it does persist. And you still see lighter skin dominating things like beauty pageants, ads.
That persistent hierarchy.
It is. But, as we touched on, there's that hopeful shift happening too, a move toward unity and diversity.
Driven by things like social media.
Yeah, social media is playing a big role. Campaigns like Saya Anak Malaysia, I am a child of Malaysia, they're really catching on.
What do?
They actively celebrate all the faces of Malaysia. They push for equal appreciation, urging people to embrace the full spectrum. It's a collective move towards valuing every part of the tapestry.
That sounds powerful.
It is. It's about seeing the strength in that diversity.
So, wrapping this up, the big takeaway seems pretty clear from both history and science.
Yeah, I think so.
There just isn't one single Malaysian look, period.
Well, it's a tapestry. That's the best word for it.
Woven from all those threads. Austronesian, Austroasiatic, East Asian, South Asian, even some European traces. From Malays to Chinese, Indians, Orang Asli. The diversity isn't just theoretical. It's right there. You see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that complexity can cause friction sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's also arguably Malaysia's greatest strength, this ability to hold multiple worlds, multiple histories in one nation.
It reminds you that national identity is rarely just one thing.
It's usually a symphony, right? Lots of different notes making the music richer.
So why do Malaysians look so different? The answer is literally history. The trade winds, the migrations, the colonial legacies, the land itself.
All etched onto the people.
When you see that Malay farmer, that Chinese student, the Indian shopkeeper, the Orang Asli elder, you're not seeing contradictions.
No, you're seeing Malaysia.
Yeah, you're seeing Malaysia itself.
And perhaps the deeper lesson here, maybe for everyone, is that real beauty, real identity.
Yeah.
It isn't about just one look, one feature, one skin tone.
Right.
It's about all those different faces woven together into one ongoing national story. A story that keeps evolving, keeps getting richer with every generation, valuing every single thread.